Hello and welcome back to our channel, International Yankee English. We post weekly videos on advanced English topics here on YouTube, and we also have a larger community over on Facebook and Instagram and some other different platforms as well. So be sure to check out in the description box all of the places where you can find us so you can follow and become a part of our community. We also have monthly conversation classes, a regular daily chat on Facebook. So there are many different ways to learn with us here at International Yankee English. Many ways for free, some ways for a very low cost. And then you can also get some more higher end elite private training or self-study programs and whatnot as well. So the opportunities are endless with us. Today we have a very interesting video, not just for our advanced English learners, because we do focus on academic and professional English here at International Yankee English, but the topic for today's video is appropriate for beginner learners all the way through native speakers, and that is the very commonly misused preposition dilemma. Do you use in or do you use at? If you're interested in hearing about that, hit the like and subscribe buttons, leave a comment for the algorithm, and keep watching. Okay guys, this video won't be too long today. I will have an exercise at the end of it with answers explaining, so you will have a chance to practice. But if you're kind of short on time, save this video for later and just watch the next minute or so, because I will explain the most important difference between the two. So in is used for less specific times and places. For example, he lives in the United States. Now, the United States of America is a rather large country, right? So if you're talking about Bangor, Maine, or you're talking about Honolulu, Hawaii, that's a very big difference. And they're very different areas, and geographically they're very far apart and many different time zones apart. So that's not quite specific enough, right? Okay. Now, we also use at for locations, but that tends to be more specific. For example, I met my husband at the White House. Okay, at the White House. Now, it is regarding how specific you want to be, but there are some other rules that you have to learn that can make it confusing. So, for example, I sleep in my bedroom is quite specific. Yes. We will get into that later in the video where I explain the differences with a bit more nuance. But for those of you who only have a couple minutes, so in is a little bit less specific generally, and at is a little bit more specific. So you can think of in as a more general, at as a more specific, and you also want to think about in as kind of being in an enclosed space. So you are within a space. I am in my office, right? And then at is more of when you're in front of something, right? So my AirPod case is at my pen. It is not in my pen, it is at my pen. So that is the very short, in a nutshell, one of our daily phrases we had over on Facebook and Instagram, as well as LinkedIn recently, in a nutshell. So briefly speaking, that is the main difference. But if you want to learn in a bit more detail, keep on. So one of the differences regarding in and at with time would be showing exactly what time. So if you want to give a very specific time, for example, I need to start work at 9 in the morning, you would have the actual numbers of the time following the word at. But if you don't want to give a specific time, you just have to say, I need to work in the morning. Okay, you work in the morning, not at the morning. However, if you give a specific time, so 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, you need to use the preposition at. Other times when you use in for time would be a month. So in August, in December, or you also would use it for years. So in 2021 or in 1950 and so on and so forth. Now we talked a little bit already about the use of in regarding a location. So when you are enclosed within a room or within a building of some kind, then you will use in, versus at would be kind of in front of or somewhere at the building, by the gates perhaps, or near the entry, but not within it. Now you also use it for cities. For example, I like to meet up with friends in Berlin. Now that's not very specific because Berlin is a rather large city, but if I want to say the place where I want to meet my friends is the Berlin Wall, then I would say I like to hang out with my friends at the Berlin Wall. So the more specific you get, the more likely that you are going to end up using at. A little tip to help you remember when you need to use at instead of in English is that if you have a very specific address, such as 123 Peach Street, or a name of a school, so Harvard University, then you would say at, not I'll meet you in Harvard University, because you are meeting the person at Harvard University. You're meeting them, so it doesn't mean that you are talking about being within the university, right? And if you give an address, it's also a very specific location, therefore we use at. This idea goes through also to times of day. So if you have a specific time like noon or midnight, you would say, I need to fill in my journal at noon or at midnight. But if it's not really important, the exact time that you have to fill in your journal, you may say, I need to fill in my journal sometime in the afternoon and sometime in the evening. Okay, so now that we've had the general explanation of the difference between the two, we will have a little quiz. I will put the questions up on the screen. You will have some time to answer the questions, and I of course will give the answers and explain the answers. I do encourage you to write your own example sentences for in and at in the comments below, and I will be sure to go through the comments and give feedback on whether you wrote them correctly or not, and or any other mistakes that I may see in your sentences. So be sure to take advantage of that free lesson, basically the free feedback that I give you in the comment section below. Let's get started with the questions, shall we?
I live in or at New York. I like staying in or at home. She works in or at the hospital. He is in or at the hospital due to illness. I had class in or at 8 a.m. in or at the summer.
Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you learned something. If you got value from this video, please check us out on all of our social media accounts. They're linked below in the description box. Make sure you are subscribed with the bell on, and we will see you next week for our next Motivation Monday video. Take care and have a great day. Bye!